Okay, this is week 2 for Web 290. Tonight we're going to go over a podcast on what you need to do this week, what you need to turn in. Looks like most everybody got week 1's URL for your class or for your website turned in. So let's go and jump into week 2. Week 2 will be covering basics of PHP, your very first PHP application, and then homework. The makeup of each week, you have 2 sections, a practice lab and a homework. The practice lab section is just that, to practice. You don't need to turn anything in for this section, but I do recommend completing this section before you go on to the homework section. Each section, the practice lab and the homework, will generally have a readings aspect, an exercise aspect, and a source code. The source code is just that. It's source code of the actual file used, solution file for that particular application. So the very first one here is this basic PDF file. Go ahead and click on that to get started. This one here just starts with the basics of PHP and goes through some of the basics, which we'll cover here. PHP is a scripting language that commonly used on web servers. It stands for PHP Hypertext Preprocessor. It is open source, embedded code, comparable with ASP, multiple operating systems and web server compatible. A couple resources outside of the ones I've already given you, php.net and rocks.com, which is a textbook website. So what can it do? Well, PHP is a dynamic generation of web page content, database interaction it can do, processing of user supplied data. It can email, do file handling, text processing, network interaction, and much, much more. Some fundamentals to begin with is PHP is embedded with XHTML tags. So you have your lesser than symbol, question mark, the letters PHP in lowercase, and then the end tag for that PHP file would be question mark greater than symbol. The short version of these tags can also be used, which is lesser than symbol, question mark greater than symbol. For this class, I'll always want you to put the lesser than symbol, question mark PHP, whatever your code is, and then end question mark greater than symbol. Each line of PHP is terminated, much like C++, with a semicolon. So here's an hello world that you can create in using Text Wrangler if you're in a Mac, Notepad++ if you're in PC. So it's basic HTML tags all the way through the beginning body tag. And then you'll notice the first PHP line here. You got your lesser than symbol, question mark PHP, echo, which is going to telling the compiler it's going to echo out the next string past the echo, which in this case is an embedded HTML code with a paragraph around it called hello RBC. There's a terminating line, semicolon, and question mark, and greater than symbol. So this whole line here is the actual PHP code and body tag and HTML. Most PHP pages will be wrapped around HTML like this one is, but you can create a PHP page, as we'll do this semester, without HTML wrappings. So preparing to code with PHP. All strings must be enclosed in a single double quotes, hello or hello. So single or double. Numbers are not needed. Numbers do not need to be enclosed in quotes. So 145 or 3.564. Booleans, true, false, can be written directly as true, false. Comments, much like C++, Here's comment examples. So if you want to go ahead and fire up your compiler, whichever one you're using, we can use here this example here. I'll just use Notepad for the example tonight. When you start in your application, let me back up a little bit. XAMPP should be running on your computer already, like mine is here. I've got Apache and MySQL running. Inside, as I mentioned last week, inside of XAMPP it has a htdocs folder. I've created one for this class called Web290. There's a default page for XAMPP when it installs correctly. You just type in localhost and it'll come to this page. So if you see this page on XAMPP, you have installed it correctly. And it should go through a couple examples, PHP info, CD collection, all the way down to PHPMyAdmin, which we'll get into in a few weeks on setting up your first MySQL database. So to run things in a browser in PHP using XAMPP, you just need to browse out to the directory within your XAMPP or htdocs folder. In this case, it is for mine here, Web290. So the structure I have in Web290 is there is my index.php page and the folders needed for the site. I've got a projects page, which is a homework, labs page, and two more folders, images for this image here, and then just multiple pages. I will upload into the lessons folder at the top a Web290 template, which is going to be a Web290 zip, which actually contains the makeup for this page here. If you wanted to use it for both your local and external site, you may do so. While I'm talking about external, the easiest way to duplicate what you're doing on your local host here onto your external is to upload using an FTP client, or you can upload it within the 00 web host environment, which is a little trickier. But at the end of this session podcast, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, well, let's get back to the example here. I've got Notepad. We'll go back to the notes for that. So you have your beginning PHP. A comment. This is hello app. We're going to echo hello. I'll put from RVC exclamation and single quote. Another way to do a multi-line comment and at the end of that you just put in the star / or backslash, technically is what it's called. So backslash for a one-liner, backslash star, and at the last line that you have the multi-line, just put a star backslash. Then all we have left is a terminator here at the end. So question mark greater than symbol. I'm going to save this as, I'm going to go out to my XAMPP folder on Windows, htdocs, and I'm going to go into Web290, and I'm going to put it for this one, just for an example, I'm going to put it into labs week 2, and I'm going to name this one hello.php. Save as type to all files and save this. So So there's my code for my hello program. Now let's go back to Web290. And I put it in the labs folder. Week 2. And hello.php. There it is. Now if you remember from your prior web classes, to view HTML code, you go to view source. You will be able to go to view source as well, but the only thing you're going to see is the actual, you're just going to see the HTML portion, not the PHP portion. If you notice here, here's the HTML portion that it viewed, which is just hello from RBC, which is this text here. It echoed that. The echo is what it got. It does not see the beginning tag, end tag, the multi-line. Those are all PHP derivatives, and so it will not view those in the source code. That's one of the security benefits of using PHP, is hiding the source code from the end user. Okay, let's go back to the PDF here. So displaying data, there's two language constructs available to display. In the example we used tonight so far, it's echo. You can also use print. They can be used with or without brackets. Note that the data displayed by PHP is actually parsed by your browser as HTML, as you just saw in the Hello app program. You can view source to see the actual output, as we did. So in this example here, there's 4 lines, 2 echoes, and 2 prints. The first echo has a BR tag, second echo, same. The only difference is a parentheses around the 2. Same with the print. First one, no parentheses on the left or right. Second one, it does. Escaping characters. Some characters are considered special. Escaping characters with a backslash. Special characters with flagged when they arise. For example, a double or single quote. So here, escaping characters, you could use Carol or Claire O'Reilly said hello. And to view this in the actual page, we could highlight this just to show you and copy that. I'll use the same name here. Save it. Syntax there on line 3. See what I did wrong here. Oh, doesn't like the quotes within the browser I copied. So we'll do. That should be okay. Yeah. The PDF quotes it does not like. There we go. Let's save that. There we go. So Claire O'Reilly said hello. Here's the actual code for it. So if you're going to have another single quote within a line, just use the backslash to do that. So 2 forward slash for comment, 2 backslash, or 1 backslash for delimiter for escaping characters. So variables in PHP, when you're working with variables, we often need to store like a labeled place to store value, whether it be a string, a number, whatever. So you can use it in multiple places. These labeled places are called variables. The $ followed by the variable name is the naming convention for a variable. Case sensitive. So $ lowercase variable differs from $ uppercase V in variable. It's best to stick with the lowercase throughout the semester and throughout your coding career for variable names for PHP. The name must start with a letter or an underscore. It cannot start with a number. So an example here, variable examples, you've got name equals Phil, age equals 23, it echoes name, which should echo Phil, is 23, and so that should be the echoing. Name is variable 1, age variable 2, displaying variable 1, displaying variable 2, with is in between, and these are just for spacing. Each line having a terminator. Constants, unchangeable variables. Each constant is given a name. No preceding dollar sign is needed. By convention, constant names are usually in uppercase. So here we have a defined constants. Name, Phil, age 23, echo name is age, Phil is 23. So these are defined constants, which a lot of times are used in programs for, like, say, defined constant as tax rates would be a good example. Defined constant as year would be a good example. The OR operator, this is the difference between strings written in single double quotes. So we're going to use the single or double quotes, which is the one. Well, in a double quoted string, any variable names are expanded to their value. In a single quoted string, no variable expansion takes place. So in this case, we have Phil in single quotes, age 23, it's a number, doesn't need any quotes or single quotes, single or double quotes. Then echo here, name is age. So if we echo name is age, it should come out as Phil is 23 with the double quotes. Single quotes, you'll note it'll kick out the actual variable name itself, not the variable content, Phil and 23. So double quotes print the name itself of the variable, which is, or double quotes, the contents, the value of the variable. Single quotes give the name of the variable. So in review, we've started learning PHP this week, escaping XHTML comments, basic syntax, variables, and constants. There's the Apache website. You should already have that already under wraps. Let's go ahead and go to the first application, which basically is looks like this, which you can verify. You can modify it some if you want to. It doesn't have to be like mine. This one here goes through the fact. Check Chronicle is 301 in dog years. There should be a download for this one, I believe. Yeah, the original source code is right here. Let's go ahead and bring that up in my computer here, and it's in the labs week 2. And while I'm in my folder structure, let me show you how I have my, because the one I'm going to be giving you is an empty shell, won't have these week folders in it. For each week, when you do complete your labs, and you don't have to turn these in, I do recommend having the home page of your index being index.html. That way when you do browse out to the folder, it's going to go to the base of that folder. So it can usually either be index or default. I recommend index. So let's go to this index page. I'm going to open this up with Notepad++. Right, this is just a navigation you can disregard right now that I use in all of my, in fact, what it is this right here. So I go to labs week 2, this navigation here you will not be needing to put in any of yours, but that's what I do just for navigation purposes. So from lines 4 down is what we'll focus on here. So again, we got begin HTML tag, head tag, title tag, nothing fancy or special there. Begin PHP tag, name equals, check console, single quotes, age 43. Dog age, so we got variable, 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 name, age, dog age. Dog age equals age times 7. Echo, name, echo is with space on either side. Dog age, and then another echo of space and dog years. So it could be Chuck is 300 some years old in dog years. All right, so we're looking at the final 301 years old in dog years. So that's the lab part. Pretty simple. And that homework is there is a PHP basic, practical PHP 2.6 through 2.10, 3.1 from 3.12, and that is this page here. It's practical PHP 2.6 through 2.10, 3.1 through 3.12, and that's this one right here. And it should have your comment directory. There it is. It's the introduction to PHP section, and 3.1 through 3.12. Introduction is the first part. Second part is simple variables and operators. So go through that and read the content there. It does give you some examples and things of that nature. Not a lot of reading in this one. Then, read and complete the exercise below URL. Be passing variables via query string. And so this one I'll open up, and you're going to do the exercise files when prompted. And the exercise we're going to be doing is passing variables via the query string. That's what we're going to be looking for in this web page. So in this lesson, you learn how PHP works, write a simple PHP page, understand how to work with simple PHP variables, use PHP operators, and pass values from one page to the other. So start right there with the very beginning. Go through the reading of how PHP works, the INI file, goes over some of the stuff we've already went over on syntax and statement and white space, comments, functions, and keep scrolling down till you get to the exercise. Keep going, keep going. There it is. And we're going to be using the passing variables via the query string. In this exercise, 10-15 minutes, you'll write a script that says hello to different people based on what they passed in a query string. So you open up the hello who.html in your editor. You'll see that's the same as a demo we looked at earlier. Modify the hello.html so that it has 4 links, each of which passes the name of one of the Beatles, Paul, John, Ringo, George, and Ringo, to hello.php. So you're creating 2 files, hello.html, hello.php, in the same directory. Open hello.php in your editor, modify the code so it outputs a greeting based on the link that they click on. So in this example here, you have to sign in for that one. So I have the download for you. Go back to there we go. There it is. So we got hello who and hello who.html, hello who.php. If you try to click on these, you're going to get this link here. If you click on that link, it does give you all the site needed for the site or for the class file, but I've already downloaded all those for you, and so I'll be jumping ahead. Here is the link to download the needed files. Let's download those. Week 2, hello who.html, hello .php, who.php. So let's go ahead and open both of these up. Extract these real quick. There's the week 2. So you can actually take this week 2 extracted folder and you can put it right into the contents of htdocs. Just a second here, so let's go and look at the code first. Okay, so we got a PHP code. So we're going to assign the passive variable, get the variable with a more convenient name. So use a greeting variable equals get greet. The title is going to be whatever the greeting is, and then the world, greeting world. This one. So this is the original one here. It says formal, informal, and friendly is what is passing to the page. So you're going to modify it to where it is correct to give the Ringo stars. In fact, this one here I believe is hello who. .php. There we go. So if we were to just to take these files here, now that I've saved them all, got the right one in there. Yep, that's the right one. So I'm going to take these files, week 2. I'm going to rename it a little bit because my folder's already been created. I'm going to do week 2 underscore test. I'm going to copy that file. I'm going to put it into my htdocs for XAMPP. htdocs, Web290. This is the actual homework project. And so there's my finished one. Let's go ahead and put in, for just this example, week 2 underscore test is the name of it. Okay. It's going to be projects, week 2 underscore test. And hello.html. All right. So we got formal, informal, and friendly. You notice as I put my mouse over the links at the bottom of the browser, it'll show you hello who.php question mark greet equals hello. Next, informal, greet equals hi. Friendly, greet equals howdy. So let's click on the first one. Formal, hello world. Informal, hi world. Friendly, howdy world. You also notice in the actual browser, this is where it's passing a reference or passing a variable to another page by, in PHP, just putting a question mark on the end of the page. The name you're passing, which in this case is greet, equals howdy. Greet equals hi. Greet equals hello. And the code, remember, we can look at that again here. Project for that. So in the hello who.html, all it's doing is, in this file, no real PHP is in this file. All it's doing is referencing a PHP page here and sending it 1, 2, 3 variables for greet. Hello, the greet is a variable. Hello, hi, and howdy is the value. Here is where it's getting the get statement actually gets from the URL in PHP past that question mark the value for greet. It plugs it into the greeting and now becomes the title, part of the title, and also part of the echo. So that's what we get when we do the final kick out here. Formal. We're now on HTML, now on PHP page. It's just kicking out hello world only. That's the variable value, hello world. Variable value here on the PHP page. Hi for greet. Friendly, howdy for greet. Okay? So what you're going to do is take it from that to, as the assignment said, to put the Beatles stars names in there. So this one's choose a Beatle to greet. Paul, John, George, and Ringo. So there's Paul. Hello, Paul. John. Hello. Notice I'm passing Beatle equals John. On Paul, it was Beatle equals Paul. George, Beatle equals George. And Ringo, Beatle equals Ringo. Okay. Once you're complete with that, again, you do not need this top section. All you need for the homework this week is text just like this. Choose a Beatle to greet. 4 selections. You're going to modify that original one that you downloaded from this week. From this file here, you'll modify that. You'll go from the original to the greeting of Paul, John, George, and Ringo. You'll have to actually add one more from what the original example was. To test your code with the original source code, I do have the source code download to verify to make sure yours looks right. And then you can always browse out here to the example again as well of what it should look like. When you're finished, you're going to paste in there the URL of your page and also the title. Just put your full name. And so if I was putting it in here, put my full name. Yeah, let's use this here as the example. Let's copy my URL, paste it in there, submit. If it's submitted successfully, it should show at the bottom, like Sean's is already in mine. Now let me show you how to take that template I've given you. If you wanted to use that template, if not, you can just basically everything that you have, the way I suggest is in your Web290 local host to have that as well on your external. So here's what my Web290 local host looks like, and I want this exactly on my external site. Okay. Now, even though I'm only grading the homework, if you wanted to put your labs up in your external site, you can, but all I'm requiring is your homework. Okay. So let's go ahead and log into the 00 web host to show you how to get in, find your FTP information, and then we'll be done. After we've shown you FTP information, we'll show you how to upload it. So you'll log in through the members area of the site, put in your credentials to log in. Symbols. Okay. Now you go to cPanel. It should have a section in here for FTP. If you've just set your site up, it might take a little bit to get your FTP up and going, a few hours, but if it's been up for a few days or a week, you should be good to go. So if we're going to use a view FTP details under the files is where we want to go to. Here is my host name. username and the password is what I've set. If you forget your FTP password, all you need to do is click this change account password, enter your new account password that you want to use, hit change. It can't be the same as the account password, so let me change it to something different. There we go. Now it's been updated. Change will apply on the server in a few minutes. Click back to the control panel. Let's go back to the view FTP details. And if you're working out of Windows XP, Windows Vista, or 7, show you an easy way to upload your files. You can use the Smart or FileZilla. That's a good one as well. But I'll just show you how to use it. Use the folder directory of files. While that's changing the password, let's go ahead and see if I have my FTP client on here. If I don't, I can use doesn't look like it. Okay. So here's my FTP host name. Here's the details for FTP. I copy that. Go to easiest way. Start button, my computer. I'm going to paste in my website there. And I'll need to put in there FTP information before I put in the FTP. Dot, and then whatever your website is. Mine's web290.comoj.com. And then it should prompt you for a username, password. That's where you'll need your credentials from the website. You can just copy and paste like I'm doing here, except you won't be able to copy and paste password, but you can username. If you wanted to remember the password, you can click that for your browser. Okay. Now, the only one you need to be concerned with is this public HTML page. You notice I already have some up on mine. The one thing I could do, though, just for this example is, since I don't have a Web290 in here, what I could do is just show you how to simply take your local, say you've completed week 2, and you wanted to upload basically everything that I've got on my local host, which is just right here. I want to upload to which is my Web290 folder, upload to my web host. So pretty simple. All I'm going to do is minimize everything down but the windows I need open here. And I want to upload this folder, Web290, into the public folder on my site. So I'm going to resize my windows here real quick so I can do that. So I'm going to click on Web290, drag it to an empty space here. Now let it start calculating and uploading the files. Once it successfully uploads those files, you should be able to browse out just like I did on localhost, except instead of localhost, I'm going to type in web290.comoj.com/web290. And then that should bring up my external site, should come up as is on my local site here. Okay, now the upload is finished. You'll notice I'm now on my external site, web290.comoj.com, web290, going to the homework page, week 2. Here's this week's assignment, this week's homework assignment. So to recap, localhost mimicked on external host. easily to do that, you log into your 000webhost.com, go to the control panel, scroll down to where you find the FTP information. So here's the control panel information. Go back one further. This is what it looks like when you log in. Control panel, files, view FTP, highlight the FTP host name. I'll go ahead and exit out of mine since it's already been in. Start button, my computer, manually type in FTP dot, and then paste in the rest of your address you copied. And I already saved my password earlier, so it's going to log me right into my website. Public HTML and Web290, which is right here, I just uploaded. And so each week, basically, I can take that internal localhost Web290 folder on my XAMPP htdocs. Once I'm finished, just move it down into this folder. It'll prompt me in just a second. It'll see a conflict or an overwrite issue, and it'll ask me, do you want to overwrite this file? And I will say yes, and I can overwrite all files. And so each week, at the end of the homework, once I'm finished, I'll have updated my external with my local information. Once you're through with that, you will go to the Web290 homepage, and get there. You're going to go to week 2. And here at the bottom again, put in your title, first and last name, URL for the message, and when it's, this is what it should actually look like here, URL to your message, and submit it, and then you are finished. I will also be posting in the lessons folder right here. In fact, I'll put in the course documents the template file that I use on my local host, which is this one right here, if anyone wants to use it. Now I have stripped out of that host or that template. This is what it actually looks like. And there's a prompt for replacing, by the way. I'm just going to do yes to all, and now it's going to replace all my files on my external with any change on my local. So you can do that each week. But anyway, here's my local template that I'm going to give you guys. Anyone wants to use it. I did empty out the labs folder and the pages folder except for, labs and projects folder except for the config.php file we'll be using in a few weeks. And if you wanted to mimic my Web290, I actually have in there, all you would need to do is make folders for weeks 2 through weeks 13, week 2 through week 13, in both the project folder and labs folder. Okay? So if you have any questions, you can definitely email me in Eagle here. I'll also be periodically online. The Meebo online component, right now it says I am offline. But when I'm online, it'll say online. You can, even if I'm offline, you can leave me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. So I hope you have a great week, and talk to you next week.